Venom has arrived, and the public just can't seem to get enough of the world's most popular brain-eating alien symbiote. But while you were distracted by that slippery, slimy tongue, you might have missed some of the film's more subtle moments. Here's a look at some small details you missed in Venom. Source material. One thing is very clear in almost every scene of Venom. The people who made the movie are big fans of the comic book. Some of it is pretty obvious, like the fact that the Life Foundation was front and center in a number of plot lines involving the alien symbiotes. But there's plenty beyond that. For instance, there's the idea that the Life Foundation's original goal was to cure cancer. That comes from the origin story of the Ultimate Marvel Universe's version of Venom. Then there are specific sequences. For instance, the scene where Riot rips Venom out of Eddie's host body is an almost exact recreation of the cover of Venom Carnage Unleashed number 3. And there are even specific lines of dialogue borrowed from the comics, like the line,
"Eyes, lungs, pancreas, so many snacks, so little time,"
which originally appeared in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man number 374. Creator callouts. Venom features all sorts of references to the writers and artists who created the character, most prominently when Eddie's ex-girlfriend Anne mentions the name of her law firm, Michelinie and McFarlane. Those names, of course, belong to writer David Michelinie and artist Todd McFarlane, who co-created Venom in Amazing Spider-Man number 299. But some references are more obscure. Near Eddie's Chinatown apartment, for instance, a sign in the background in the final scene reads Ron Lim's Herbals, which is a reference to artist Ron Lim, who penciled the Venom Lethal Protector miniseries that much of the film is based on. And the apartment building Eddie lives in, that would be the Schuler Building, named for Randy Schuler, a fan who sent his idea for a black Spider-Man costume to Marvel in the 1980s, inadvertently providing the original inspiration for Venom in the first place. Nice! Deadly Doggie. One of Venom's many funny moments is the all-too-brief sequence in the hospital when, separated from Eddie Brock, the Venom symbiote is forced to use a tiny little doggie named Gemini as a host in order to survive. That's actually a subtle reference to the comics, where not one, but 2 dogs have been turned into symbiotic monsters. One was Ivan, a sled dog, while the other was a German shepherd named Samson. Both symbiote dogs proved that when it comes to pet ownership, good breeding does indeed matter. So if you suspect your pet has been bonded with an alien killer, please consider getting it spayed or neutered. The symbiote Scream. At the beginning of the film, it's mentioned that there are 5 alien life forms being brought back to Earth. One is Venom. One is Riot, who bonds with the movie's villain, Carlton Drake. One is apparently Agony, the bluish symbiote who kills poor Dr. Doris Skirth before dying itself. And one is probably Carnage, who may or may not be attached to serial killer Cletus Cassidy by the time the first post-credit scene hits the screen. But there's also a 5th symbiote who seemingly vanishes partway through the film, the yellow symbiote who briefly bonds with a super cute little bunny rabbit. Exactly which symbiote this is and what happened to it are both mysteries, but while some speculate that the bunny might have housed the symbiote known as Phage, the smart money is on another yellow-tinted symbiote, Scream. In the comics, both Phage and Scream were created by the Life Foundation, but Scream eventually turned on the others and killed all their host forms, believing symbiotes to be evil. Given that the film seems to be setting up Venom versus Carnage for the sequel, having a loose cannon like Scream at large and looking to eliminate both of them could be a fun and interesting twist. The Wilhelm Scream. It's not just comic book fans that got serviced with in-jokes. Movie buffs also got their own call-out thanks to the prominent use of the legendary Wilhelm Scream during the scene where Venom fights the SWAT team. The audio was actually first used way back in 1951 for the film The Distant Drums, during a scene where a man was eaten by an alligator. Named for Private Wilhelm, a character who gives this pained cry in 1953's The Charge at Feather River after being shot by an arrow. The sound effect was revived in 1977's Star Wars when a stormtrooper fell to his doom inside the Death Star. It subsequently became a tradition for Star Wars and Indiana Jones films and then spread to everything from Reservoir Dogs to Beauty and the Beast. Pretty exciting that Venom is keeping the tradition alive.